Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out XCN's price chart, and unfortunately in here some not necessarily optimistic signs played out, and we did expect this move down, but I'll be honest, I didn't really expect this move to be actually this deep. Why? If you remember, the last time that we talked about XCN, we considered the possibility of having an A, B, C in form of either a running flat or maybe an expanded flat, depending on whether we are going to take the height of our A leg or not. And we said, look, even if we get a 5-wave up in here, at that point we need to be patient and careful, because odds are that might be into the C leg, and what's next? You guessed it right, another move on the downside. So this move down from my POV is not necessarily a big surprise. However, just how deep this is actually getting is, in my view, quite a bit of a surprise. Why? You see, a couple of videos back in XCN, we talked about this specific structure on the upside, starting from the lows down here about 1.23 cents, and we said whether you are able to say this is a 5-wave on the upside or not actually comes down to only and only this shadow right in here. So this structure does look a bit tricky and odd, and we said if you want to be more bullish in XCN with more confidence, what you do not want to see is yet another move down in order to take this important low. Because if we take it, at that point, maybe you should actually count on this whole move not being a 5-wave, instead maybe being like an ABC or maybe a WXY, suggesting this is actually going to continue, and in it we are going to maybe take the lowest low down here about 1.2 cents, meaning from this region we can count on like another 10 to 12% move on the downside. And unfortunately, the bearish scenario that we talked about in the previous video, I'm going to argue basically played out. So in today's update, we are going to answer two very important questions. Number one, is the bottom actually in or not? Number two, if the bottom is not in and we are going to have some more downward price action, okay, how will exactly this move down come to an end, and how far are we actually from hitting our final low in XCN in this whole phase down, starting from the highest high around 2.6 cents? Are you ready? Let's start by counting some waves in the short term, because I want to tell you, one way or the other, seems like this move down is actually not over and it is going to continue a little bit more. Why is that? You see, if you really want to be bullish, then okay, you have to be able to find from this high to about here a 5-wave down if you want to say we have hit our final low. And are you able to find a 5-wave? The answer is probably not, because are you going to say this is 1, 2, and then I guess another move down into wave 3, correction for 4, another move on the downside into wave 5? You know what? Okay, but here's the thing. For our sub waves, for a 5-wave down, excuse me, let's just try it again. We are going to have, you probably know it in case that you are a regular viewer of the channel, 5 down into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different counts. Doesn't really matter a whole lot, honestly. Let's say, sure, ABC into wave 4 and like a WXY into wave 2. Now let's go on the live chart and see what is going on, and this is my problem. Do not get me wrong, I am able to find a 5-wave in this phase down, maybe even in this phase, but how exactly are you able to show me one in this move down, starting from this high about 1.45 cents to about the lows down here around 1.35 cents? To me, this seems clearly like an A, B, C zigzag, meaning what? This cannot be considered simply as a 5-wave. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tell you, if even you don't really want to consider having an impulsive structure starting from this high and you want to be really bullish and say our move down actually started from here, then okay, even according to that scenario, odds are this is 1, this is wave 2, another move down into wave 3, correction for 4, another move into wave 5, and on a higher degree, there's actually a very, very good chance this white 5-wave down, it's gonna be into wave 3, followed by that the current move might be just a simple correction structure into wave 4, and what's next? Yes, another move down into wave 5, and this might actually end up being quite a deep move, and we may have maybe even an extension structure into our wave 5, meaning we can even count in this phase on like another 10 to potentially even 20% move on the downside. So here is what I'm trying to tell you. One way or the other, even if you want to be bullish in XCN in the short term, you really cannot ignore the fact that the structures in here for a complete correction down are simply not 100% done yet. And well, this means we are going to actually have some more downward price action. Question is though, when can we say maybe this move down has actually come to an end? You see, in XCN, now I do believe that we should consider this move up as a correction structure. Let's say, sure, a WXY. And if I just go on H1 time frame, maybe even H4 is better. There we go. Let's just do this. Okay. I still believe that this is a 5-wave up, and followed by that, we are having a move on the downside in form of a correction structure. Now I'm going to say that probably this is an ABC down, followed by an ABC on the upside, and starting from this high, we are having 5 down into a correction for wave B, and this might actually be yet another 5-wave on the downside into our C leg. And again, we talked about it earlier, odds are the structures in here are not complete yet, and here is the key point. You see, in XCN, unfortunately, under the lows down here, I'm really not able to find a whole lot of strong supports until where? Until all the way down here between 0.0085 to about 0.0095 of a cent. So this means essentially you should probably expect like another 20% move on the downside in order to get to this level, which is at the same time, I believe, a very, very important daily and also weekly time frame gap that was created as a result of this bounce back being way too strong and way too fast. And I believe gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So from my POV, makes sense to argue, since number one, we are on our way to complete a correction down, and the subways for it, for now at least, do not really add up. Number two, under here, we really do not have a whole lot of strong supports. And number three, for now at least, we're not really seeing any signs of life in ONYX coin. Okay, this move down can continue a little bit more. But do not get me wrong. Even if this is going to happen, overall, I am not going to flip bearish in ONYX coin. Why? Because when you look at the structures on some higher time frames, you realize just how insanely bullish we actually are. You see, in my view, we are having 5-wave up, very strong move into a wave 1, followed by an ABC flat into wave 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a very strong move up, which is a characteristic of, yep, you guessed it right, a big wave 3, and then whatever move on the downside that we are having, odds are it's just going to be a correction for 4, and after it's over, or who knows, maybe even it's over already. What are we going to get? Yet another magnificent phase of the bull run in XCN into wave 5, which in it, I do think that the bare minimum target is going to be taking the highs in here around the 4.5 cents area. But I'm thinking we may actually end up going quite a bit higher than that. And for example, like a 10 cents XCN is not really going to be that much of an unrealistic target. Also, in terms of what is going on in H4 time frame, again, we said it earlier, I do still believe this is a 5-wave up followed by a correction down. So who knows, maybe even the low of our correction is already in. And from this point moving forward, we are having a 1 correction for wave 2. And what's next? After, maybe I'm going to argue like another 15 to even 20% move on the downside, a huge move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. So you see, one way or the other, the bullish structures in the mid and maybe to a degree, I would say short term in XCN are absolutely intact. So in case that we get another small move down, I don't really believe it's going to be a bad sign at all. It is probably going to shake a lot of traders out of their trades, and that's absolutely fine. Because honestly, this is exactly how the market works. It does have a habit of shake most of the traders out of their trades. And when they have no money, it's actually going to do what they already expected, but at the wrong time relative to their perspective. So overall, we are looking great. Do not get me wrong. In the short term, I still believe this is a slow and choppy move down in form of a correction. And by the way, I think we do have actually a beautiful looking downward channel. There we go. So I'm not going to really get angry in case that we visit the lower band of this channel once more, and then from here I expect a very, very strong bounce, a 1 2 3 4 5 without a whole lot of overlapping of the waves in order to confirm the bullish scenario, suggesting this is indeed a 1-2 and exciting times in XCN are indeed ahead of us. So for now, let's count on another move down, and then we will make new updates and see where are we going to go from there. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ONYX coins chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.